We live? Oh, thanks for telling me.
Oh, Zion, you're completely muted.
We're off to a great start.
Oh, there. Now we got Zion back. Somebody must have muted yourself. Can you hear us, Zion?
I can hear
There we go.
There he is.
All right. Let's tweet this.
That's all, man. Wait till people get out, man.
Bruce Wayne's showing up. What's up, Bruce? Respect. Hey, he's here when we win. It's fair enough.
We provide UNC Super Bowl content too.
Sure. Why not? Why not?
Give a couple more seconds.
Sure.
We're not on the main, right? We're on the other one.
No, there's no way we're on the main.
Yeah. So whoever expecting Quinn Cook tonight, that's not happening. Just not even because it's not. We don't have to talk about it. Forget it. Let me see.
Mm-mm-mm.
All right. We should be good now. Let's get it started.
Sure.
Trying not to score and everything. We got about 30 threes or something.
Man, I mean, we kind of felt that. We kind of feed off that energy.
This place is amazing. Like I really love Duke, and I love the atmosphere I'm in here.
Mark Williams, beast mode. Paolo first half, he had the cramping stuff. Fair enough. Beast mode.
Yeah. Oh, you want to do it? Go ahead.
I did my
Man. That's a bad game. I don't know where to start.
Bad game.
Bad game.
game.
Just all around, just start to finish, kind of just got beat. Self-inflicted wounds. Some things Carolina Harrison Ingram got to tip your cap. Man, where do we start, man? Russ, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I said on the show that we did, two of the big keys were, can we keep them off the offensive glass, and can we defend the 3-point line? UNC shoots 38% from three for the game, right? They get something, I tweeted it out, like 16 second chance points, 14, 16, something like this. Once you add on top of that the turnovers and the 19 points off turnovers that they got, I mean, you can't win on the road like that. You just can't. You will never win on the road like that. So, I mean, I know I shouldn't be smiling. I'm smiling through the pain, right? It sucks to get your ass kicked. But Duke, just regardless of the final score, they kind of just got their ass kicked all game. I'm trying to think of a component of the game in which Duke was competitive, and then I'm struggling to come up with it. We didn't pass the ball at all on offense. Strange decisions, I think, in terms of offensively what we were trying to accomplish. You can look at a couple of individual performances and go okay, there's some guys who showed up in some capacities, but for the most part, that's cherry picking. It was just a bad performance. We have a chance to tie for, you know, the ACC lead. We have a chance to secure the biggest win of the season. We have a chance to do all of these things. And I mean, 50-50 balls, lost them all, as you tweeted out, Zion. We let their stars go. We let them get hot. We let them get confident. And then they also dictated the entire game. You know what I mean? Like, they were running. They were feeding Baycott more than they had in the last several games prior. Even with what I thought was a pretty good defensive performance against RJ Davis until the last couple of minutes or so. Like, I think he only got to his 15 points with 5 minutes ish, somewhere in there. Even with that, like, we weren't in the game really from pretty early on. So, pretty frustrating. Obviously, a lot of blame to be shared. Both sides of the ball, everywhere. I don't really think anyone is completely innocent. Jeremy made some big plays. McCain made some big plays. Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Like,
the concerning part to me was like when Baycott was taken out kind of early, it seemed like in the first half, and Flip was still in, and we just didn't even attempt to feed him for the first few possessions. And after that, we weren't even losing by that much at the time, but I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, we're just completely catering to their style of play, and it just made no sense. The score indicates that. We don't let up 93 points. North Carolina scores that quite a bit, but it's just like you can't walk into Chapel Hill and expect to play the way North Carolina plays or wants to play. And then the turnovers, obviously, that was a big emphasis. Everybody's crapping on Proctor tonight and his offensive game. Sure, you can talk about that all you want. He did a good job on RJ Davis tonight. That was his one goal, and I'm not going to go off the ledge with Proctor. It just didn't seem like when we've been down 10 in games like this before, and you could see that the guys were still like into it and the intensity was high, and it just seemed like that was never the case. It was always like you wanted to feel like we were going to make a comeback, especially later in the second half, and there was just no urgency. Not a great game from Flip, regardless of what the stat line says. Shooting too many threes when you weren't making them, and defensively, like I said, Baycott had his first 20-point game since November, and I get it, he was fed a lot more than he normally is, but you knew that was gonna be their game plan: try to get Flip in foul trouble and just go right after him. And whether that there was a lack of help or just Flip not being able to stay in front of Baycott a few times, just a disappointing effort and game plan all along. But shout out Jeremy McCain. I want 4 years of him. If we can have guys like him out there all the time, be a different
4 years, bro. Let's be real, bro. Come on.
No, I know. I'm just I let a man dream. But he played. It's just so fun to watch play, even on both ends. He had a double with rebounds, which is awesome. Other than that, like you just can't. If you were going to tell us that North Carolina was going to score 93 points at home, they're not going to lose many of those games, especially in this rivalry. So very disappointed, and just hopefully we can move on and they can learn from this. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'll say I'm not even really mad about it. That we just pretty much flat out got beat. I mean,
I kind of agree.
Yeah. I'm not really mad. If that happened in Cameron, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
And if it happens in Cameron again, then you have reason to be out on the ledge like some of these tweets we're seeing all game. But I'm not. I did see some things I did like, at least from Jeremy McCain. Jeremy Roach too. I do think we can increase our volume with McCain at this point, because I feel like he's an efficient player and he can carry a bigger load than we've given him over the season. Flip,
bad game.
I'm not like ragging on you, Russ, but like it goes back to that episode where we're talking about the numbers just don't look like the game. What did he finish with?
22, man.
He finished with 22.
Yeah.
If rebounds were low, regardless, five rebounds.
The things that kill me about the Flip situation today, in particular, first of all, he's 7 feet tall and he got 5 rebounds. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you have to get more rebounds than that in this game. Like there's no excuse for that. Also, something that he'd been doing really well throughout the season generally is passing the ball. There was no passing from anyone tonight, like at all. How many assists do we end up with? Like 5, 6? Like I
That's
can't see the
insane.
number in front of me, but like
8.
what? Okay, I mean, a couple of them must have been late. I mean, because throughout the game, it was ISO. It was nonstop ISO. We played directly into their hands, and I just don't understand. To Ryan's point, why when we've got a guy who's 7 feet tall who can pass the ball really well, why we are so hell bent on getting him the ball at the top of the key on offense? Like he's done pretty well from like even if you put him in like the elbow or at the free throw line, like get him something closer to the basket and let him work and let the ball whip around to guys who are open. Like,
well, you have to factor in. You have to factor in when you speak about him on the top of the key. You have to factor in he's at the top of the key a lot of the times because we have to put Mark Mitchell in the dunker spot. Because if we put Marcus Mitchell on the perimeter, that's easier for them to sag off, and they'll double flip in the post. So that's really part of the reason why you have to incorporate him at the top of the key.
Well, you got to throw some different looks. It can't be the same thing over and over again. Like, you know what I mean? Like we were doing some interesting things earlier in the season when we started to figure things out where we were using Mitchell in the pick and roll some. I don't know. Like everything seemed like a classic roll the ball out there. Go see what you can do. Set a screen, dribble around it, dribble, get to the rim. And it definitely did not help that we were clearly just looking to draw fouls for the first 10 minutes of the game. We were looking to draw contact and not to score. And that was Flip, and Flip has that problem. We've seen that throughout the season, but it was also everybody. Like everybody was trying that tactic, and it was not.
Mark was too. People are saying Tyrese Proctor. I do think we definitely have to hold Tyrese Proctor accountable because, yes, he was playing great defense over RJ Davis, but your role is not to be Jalen Brooks. We still need you as a point guard, a facilitator, as someone. The reason why he's playing his best basketball the season before tonight was because he was aggressive. He did have early moments of aggression, especially when we put Armando Bacot in ball screens and Tyrese was attacking. Even though he missed a few, he got some makeable looks. But he kind of stopped that throughout the game, and I don't know if it was a fatigue thing because it was a high paced game. But you can't get 2 points from Tyrese Proctor, man. We can't. He doesn't have an excuse for that. I don't care how great he plays defensively.
No, and no one's saying that. By the way, everybody was so mad that I pointed out that he's playing good defense. I tweeted in my tweet about his defense that he was having a bad offensive game. We can compartmentalize and say he was good at one thing while also he needs to be much better at another thing. That's fair.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this real quick. What if you had to predict what was Shire and staff's game plan coming into this game? What do you from what we saw tonight? Was there anything that you saw that was I can see what they're trying to do with this? Because I couldn't see anything. The game plan just seemed like after the first 5 minutes, it just when that pace got to where it was all right, fine, screw it. We're just going to play with their pace. It doesn't seem like we tried to get into any sort of rhythm or game plan of our own and play the way we played the last 3-4 weeks. And that's getting the ball into Flip and the ball movement and the pin downs and all that with getting action with Jerry McCain. There just was none of that tonight. It was just
we did run things in the beginning though. I think we ran a lot of good sets in the beginning.
In the beginning, and then when the pace got up like it was, we just
I feel like
I didn't mind the pace.
We had a game plan of attacking Bacot in ball screens that we just stopped for some reason. That's what.
But then that's the question: why did it stop? And why didn't?
I don't know.
Why in any timeout was it not? Hey, here's something that was working. Let's keep doing that until it stops working. We don't need to stop the thing that's working on behalf of them, right? We should keep doing it until the wheels fall off.
But I just didn't even see enough from a standpoint of okay, clearly we need more size on the floor. And I'm not even saying, oh, Sean Stewart is our savior. Sean Stewart needs to play 30 minutes. But at some point, we probably should have seen a Mark Mitchell flip Sean Stewart lineup just to throw a different look at him, especially for them when they – because I said this to someone yesterday, and he was like, we usually don't play Harrison Ingram at the 3. I was like, we might see Harrison Ingram at the 3 because he's matched up against 6'4", 6'3" guards, and that's a mismatch every time. So how about we add some more length defensively, Obviously, it's going to suffer offensively, but we may get some more stops. And, then we'd be relying on our talent to score offensively. But I just thought we should have seen more looks, threw more different looks at him, at least defensively, for sure.
Yeah, I think we could have done anything like outside of and defensively. What was our strategy? Like we switched to zone for like 2 possessions and maybe did a little perfunctory like a 3/4 court press like once or twice. Like I don't like Monty just put that quote. I'm assuming that's a John Shire quote. I wasn't happy with the way we competed. Like, I think the problems are more than merely competition. Like, it's not just, yes, UNC is a very good team this year. We were at UNC, that like, if we had lost and we looked like we were really in it, I think that'd be one thing, right? Like, if we lost a close game and we played really hard, then we'd go, well, you got to just tip your cap. I mean, you tip your cap anyway, but like when you lose this way where it didn't feel all that it feels like the final score is closer than the game was. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Like did it feel like
I think it felt that way more because they were on the road, the crowd was into it more, and the 10-point it hovered around 10 for the majority of the later in the first half and all the way through the second. Like we never really got close in the second half, so it felt like and anytime we got momentum, they did a great job of stopping it. And we just, setting up or keeping them into a half-court offense, I feel like we didn't do a good job of. They were, even on makes on our end, they were running pretty high level, it felt like. So, it seemed like we were always in it, but just like too far out to complete any sort of comeback with the way we were playing.
I thought it was interesting that we kind of saw it last game with UNC that when RJ Davis has to carry the team by himself, they're very vulnerable. Tonight, that wasn't the case. RJ Davis was fairly quiet most of the game. And we let Ingram, Baycott, even Cormac Ryan made plays. Cadeau had his stretch. Like, it was the other guys tonight that killed. So I feel like that's the way. If you want to attack UNC, let RJ carry his load. Focus on limiting the role players, the guys around him, and that's where they're.
Do we have the personnel to stop everybody? I think we're a team that, because we've got our point of attack defender, I feel like I understand why they'd go, okay, we're going to put Proctor on RJ Davis and we're going to dare other people to beat us. I understand that from a purely like who we have on the roster perspective. Like we had the issue that multiple people tweeted out, myself included, where yes, Ingram had a couple of open threes, but he also had several threes, much like in the Blake Hinson game, where we were guarding him, but it's Jared McCain, it's Jeremy Roach. They're small. And Hinson and Ingram is taller, and he's got a larger wingspan. So, like, there was that one in the corner where Jeremy Roach was right in his grill, but, like, he just shot over the top of him, like
it was a 6'2".
And so then what are you supposed to do about that from a personnel perspective? And somebody got mad at me for pointing it out. They're like, well, what are you saying we should do? I'm not saying we should do anything. It's a problem that they're going to have to figure out creative solutions for, because we've now seen multiple times this season, if there's a guy who's like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", they're going to do some actions to get Roach, McCain, shorter players on that guy, and then let that guy shoot over the top. They're going to do it. Like any team with a guy who's Mark Mitchell's height, who can make threes, they're going to make sure that Mitchell gets switched off to somebody else, and they're going to let that guy shoot all day. So, like, I don't know. We have to do something creative, though. You have to try something. Like, you can't just continue to keep doing the same thing and think, well, it'll cool off eventually, which is kind of what it seemed like the plan was.
Yeah. I mean, we went 7 deep tonight. I don't really know if you count Sean's minutes.
What happened to Blinks?
No clue.
He
hasn't played the last couple games.
Like, I get his offensive deficiencies, but there is value to a guy that can just annoy you, be a pest.
Yeah.
Especially in these type of games.
He's a tone setter. He's a tone setter. In a game where we're not fighting.
That's a great point.
Like, I have no doubt that Jalen Blakes would be the first guy on the ball on the ground for a loose ball. He'd probably knock over a bunch of like players to get there. Like, we need that. We need that guy. And if
Zion, can you pull up the full box score quick?
Play like that.
Yeah, that's the thing is like you're only going to play. We only played 7 guys for meaningful minutes, with Stewart coming in for 2, I think.
I didn't even realize he came in.
He did in the first half, but that's the thing, especially at the end there when we're pressing. Like, why not bring in Blakes? What do you have to lose there? I think the other thing that stings most about this loss is like, if you didn't know it before, you know it now. Carolina's a legit team this year. Like, that's also what sucks, is that they have the offensive ability to make a deep run in the tournament, and that like also scares me. That makes it more shitty in my opinion, just because in recent years you haven't had to like, it's like, oh, we lost to UNC, but like they're not that like not too worried about it. But going forward for the game in Cameron, like if this goes, if we let them play at that pace, Carolina can beat anybody playing at that pace. I don't care who you are, but if they come into Cameron and do it, then I'll be much more concerned. But the shortened bench tonight, we've talked about it. We talked about in the offseason not going after a rim protector. I think we've mentioned it a few times on the show. Derek Lively last year against UNC was like a complete difference maker, and he was in a lot of games. We don't have that this year. And I know Russ Flip has been our best defender, he's a good defender, but in games like this, it just kind of shows that we are lacking that ability, or at least somebody to take the pressure off Flip as well. So I think that was also a miss this offseason, which in a game like this comes back to haunt you.
I also just like hate that because we had 2 of the 3 best defenders in like Coach K's, at least paint defenders of like Coach K's regime in the last like 2 seasons. Or I guess Lively was later, but like Mark Williams and Derek Lively going back to back, just I think it makes fans think, oh, well, then that solves everything. We just like need a guy down there to erase everything. But like those guys don't just show up. Like Derek Lively is playing great defense in the NBA today. Mark Williams, when he's not hurt, is playing very good defense in the NBA today. Like, we don't have a guy on the team who is an NBA immediate the second he jumps into the NBA defender. So then what are we going to do defensively? Like, you have to then change it. You have to come up with a scheme. You have to do something. You can't just like let guards continue to funnel into the inside, when Flip is not Derek Lively or Mark Williams, nor should he be expected to be on the defensive end. So
Jim Robinson, this is a Duke podcast. Stop being a bozo. Read the title. Read the description. Can you read?
Yeah.
Like, leave the live if you don't understand that or you can't comprehend English.
I was exactly about to say that, Monty. I have no clue why we only played like 2 possessions of zone.
It has to be because of Harrison being a bigger threat and Davis potentially getting hot. Like, I agree we should have, but that has to be why, right? If you go to zone, you're just giving Ingram the opportunity to continue to torch you, which he ended up doing anyways. But
I don't know why they didn't entertain it earlier in the game. Like, just some different look, like some chaos, something different. Like, make them move the ball. A zone would be a struggle from a rebounding perspective. I imagine maybe that's one of the big reasons why, because they were just, if they're getting to every ball, like, then zone is probably not going to help us in that respect. But like, it could slow the pace. Maybe it would, like, you have to try something. You have to like try something. I don't know. Like when things aren't going right and you go, well, let's just keep doing it because maybe it'll get better. and then it doesn't keep getting better, and you go, well, I'll try zone for like 2 possessions, then all right, let's go back to what was not working already. Maybe it'll work now that we did 2 possessions of zone. I just like I struggle with that. I really want to see tangible adjustment. I want to see tangible, like, Ryan, to your point, the idea of like, we can tell what the game plan was by how the team plays entering the game. Like, I agree that there was the Bacot ball screen stuff, but then we went away from it so like casually that like it makes me wonder what's going on. Like,
that and like I said earlier, a bigger red flag was when Bacot was out and we didn't just pound it inside with flips. So like, I think there's some questions there. Somebody asked a serious question no one wants to talk about. Why did not one big from the transfer portal want to come to Duke?
They did.
I don't think that was the case. Wait, sorry, what'd you say, Russ?
I said they did want to come to Duke.
Yeah, I don't think this was a case of Duke not winning any recruiting battles. You could maybe say it for Uday from Kansas, who ended up going to TCU. But yeah,
forget the portal, man. I think the team is right now can win games, and can win it. It can beat Carolina. One thing I just popped into my head because I was thinking about it for the past 5 minutes. Why have we said like all year or even in the off season that Duke needs to be a team that plays fast? And we run into Carolina, Carolina historically has played fast regardless of what personnel they have.
Yeah.
And we just get beat down the floor. And we can't if we play at this pace that Carolina was playing today, they're gonna beat us every time. So we have to slow them down to win the game.
I think that playing only 7 players is a huge part of that. Like, Flip looked gassed. I mean, like, some of the guys like started to look gassed in the first half, and you saw there was that huge stretch where they sat Bacot and Davis for like 4 minutes or whatever.
It was a while, yeah.
Like, they were able to spell their guys more because it's so funny because last year they didn't play their bench at all, and this year they're willing to like bench Davis and Bacot for stretches because they realize if you're going to sprint like that, you have to like spell your dudes a little bit. I think we thought that we could run because we thought we'd be playing like 9 guys. I think if we're playing 9 guys, we can run. If we're playing 7 guys, we can't run. And we also can't turn the ball over like that. I honestly thought that during some of the running we were doing, we were still kind of in the game at that point. Like some of the running in the first half, we looked okay until they went on that big run at the end of the first half. But again, I think that had to do with fatigue. I think that had to do with, and certainly a couple of the errant passes that happened. Like, if you're going to play fast, you can't turn the ball over. If you're going to turn the ball over, then you can't play fast. But like, also, if you're going to try to win with half court, you also can't turn the ball over, in a silly way like that. Like 11 turnovers in a game like this, that's the game. I mean, like, if you turn the ball over 5 times instead of 11 times, it's a very close game. But 11 turnovers, you can't do it. You just can't.
Yeah, and you made a good point there, Russ, about after the first 10 minutes were just absolutely insane. I was exhausted watching it as a fan. Like, you could just tell guys were fun. And it was. And we're trotting out the same 3 to 4 guys every time, and they basically did a squad switch. And like you said, Bacot and Davis on the bench. Like, we have the personnel at least to try that in some capacity. And I don't know if Shire just doesn't try. Like we talked about Blake's. I think Power could have done a few minutes there just from an offensive standpoint and keeping up at the pace. Power have to play 15 minutes. He just 3 to 4 minutes during that stretch to give the guys a breather. I don't think we were going to go down a ton based off of that, especially with Bacot and Davis on the bench. And then Stewart as well, somebody who can run the floor as a big, who's going to dive on the ball or dive on the ground for the ball. Like, the lack of bench play tonight, like I kind of alluded to earlier, was concerning. And I don't know why those things happen.
But UNC really didn't even play their bench either. Like, 4 minutes from Trimble. I'm tripping. I read that completely. I read that wrong completely. 19 minutes from Trimble. But still, I mean, Washington and Withers didn't really play. I mean, Withers played 10 minutes. Yeah. I wouldn't say they have a deep bench. I feel like they're just conditioned to run. You know,
Yeah.
they're taught to run from the start. And I feel like we've always, of late, had teams that can run, but we just don't. And this team, I felt like, is a team that run, especially when we have Flip at the 5. Obviously, before the season, I thought we were going to play Sean Stewart more, who's a running big specifically. He would flourish in a running system, but you know, we don't. We have, you know, Ryan Young is the opposite of that. He cannot play in a running system. But
what I was getting at with the Stewart stuff, you know, it's
UNC having age advantage there probably helps too. I mean, they've been just running up and down the court a lot more. Like freshmen and sophomores are going to hit that. I mean, the sophomores shouldn't, but like the freshmen are going to hit a wall a little bit more. Even though McCain didn't. McCain acquitted himself really well tonight. But like guys like Ryan, Ingram, obviously Baycott, even Davis, you know, just older guys, experienced guys who've been, you know, sprinting for a while now.
That comment there is alluding to Mark. I tried to watch him more closely in the second half, but kind of forgot to. He just seemed, with Ingram and all the switching that we were doing, it seemed like we just lost Ingram. And I don't know if that was completely on Mark or not. Mark struggled to get to the rim tonight, which was kind of surprising to me just based on what he's been able to do the past few months actually now. And then going back to last year, like we just don't have, he just wasn't able to do what he's comfortable doing. When he got into the paint, they were kind of just facing him square up, and he wasn't able to get up and over them like you normally would see him do. So struggled there. I think he finished with 11 actually, but I don't know if it was a completely bad game for Mark, but the fact that Ingram, who was his matchup, dropped what he did was a little concerning.
I don't know that Mark was guarding Ingram on the baskets.
That's what I said. They switched a lot. Like there was a lot of switching and a lot of commotion. So I'm not saying it was, like I said, it wasn't all on Mark, but the fact that, Ingram dropping what it was at 23.
I mean, you have to credit Hubert in that respect. I mean, like clearly he watched the Pittsburgh game and thought, here is a great opportunity. We can do exactly this with Harrison Ingram. Because when Flip was guarding Ingram, Flip like was giving him space, which was also a bad decision on Flip's part, especially after he got hot. So it was either you've got the big man on you who doesn't want to guard you like really tight out on the perimeter, or you've got guards who will guard you tight, but you can just shoot over the top. I'd be stunned if Mark was guarding Harrison Ingram on any of those jump shots that he made. I would bet he was guarding on 0 of them.
Yeah, and just looking at, I think Zion, you mentioned it about, I know you mentioned it about the whole let RJ Davis do his thing and guard everybody else. And that, I think you mentioned it on the debate show with UNC guys, that it's exactly what Georgia Tech did. Like nobody else was in double digits against Georgia Tech. They shot very poorly and RJ did his thing. But like, it's almost like Hubert watched that Pittsburgh game and came up with this game plan and it worked. And we just didn't watch the Georgia Tech game and came up with whatever game plan ours was, and it obviously didn't work.
Yeah, but Georgia Tech is taller across multiple positions, right? Like Georgia Tech has the personnel if like they're trying to like run some switches to get Ingram on a more advantageous matchup. Like they don't have 3 guys who are 6'4" and shorter that they're running out there on a regular basis. You know,
they did have Dongo get hurt though right away, so they were limited there. And
they did. That was also just it was a look ahead spot. I honestly don't even.
I'm not saying like it's more so just like back to Zion's point. You watch film from this game and just think like there's actually something we could use here, and we didn't seem to do that at all. So. But how about Jared McCain? Should we talk some positivity? Maybe some Jared McCain talk?
Yeah, he was great. Somebody put in I've seen a couple of people say in the comments now, like, why do we sound negative? I mean, they're a really good team. They were at home. They only beat us by 9. We said earlier in the podcast, like, it's not that we lost. It's the manner in which it happened, right? Yeah. Like, I think that you can be okay in a loss if you think that your team fought really hard and it just didn't go our way. But like at no point I feel like did it feel like we were the better team tonight? Like not even for like stretches. No. And you'd like it to be that, right? You'd like it to be a true back and forth the way Duke UNC tends to be, where like one team is better for 20 minutes, one team's better for 19, and then it's down to the very end. And it just wasn't really that way today. So so that kind of stinks.
Let me adjust this because if I recall, nobody got the score right at all. No one was even close to the score. So get off my back, brother. Like this don't even make any sense from a standpoint. My whole point of it was when I did say the score was that the rivalry tends to be very ugly basketball. The rivalry usually tends to be better defense as well. So
that didn't happen.
This was a rare occasion where we just couldn't get a stop. And they were hitting shots. Usually the lights are too bright for these guys that they're missing open shots even in those moments, but they didn't. Credit to UNC. Harrison Ingram. They still got to come back to Cameron though. So
yeah,
UNC fan talking.
And I still like our chances at home. Yeah. I mean, like, it's not like somebody said earlier, I think it was Monty, and maybe he was trolling a little bit, saying like we're a Wednesday ACC tournament team. I don't think it's that at all. Again, I think we'll probably end with like 5 losses in conference, 6, somewhere in there. Like, which isn't awesome. We'd prefer it be less. We'd prefer to have won this game. But I also think that this is not a boy, the season is lost. It's just a very frustrating. We would hope that in this spot, the team would play like this was their championship, to use some terminology we talked about earlier this season. And UNC was playing like it really meant a lot to them. And I've no doubt that it did mean a lot to the guys. I'm not trying to insinuate that, but like, again, UNC was the first to the loose balls. They were the first team to the loose balls. They were we didn't move the ball. We didn't pass the ball. We got beat on the glass. They shot the ball better. We turned the ball over more. Like, that's a lot of facets of the game.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, go ahead, Zion.
I was going to say, like, people are saying, we scored 84 points. That goes back to numbers. We didn't have a good offensive game tonight, in my opinion. We didn't.
No.
Just off the turnovers alone, there was not good basketball being played. Yes, I think we had some good moments. I think McCain had some great moments. Flip hit some tough shots tonight. I was telling Russ on Twitter, Flip hit some tough shots. I don't think Flip was good tonight, but he hit some pro-level shots that we kind of look at it and be like, that's not a great shot, but you hit it.
He's got that in his bag. We know he does. I mean, we know he does. That's why it gets frustrating when he plays unevenly and when he has big spots, stretches where we need to get him the ball and let him go to work, and then it doesn't pan out. Like, we sort of really need him to be the guy that carries us through those moments, that stops the opponent's run, that starts our run. And we sort of needed a couple of big baskets from him tonight that just didn't work out. Unfortunately,
I do think it's not it's tough. I know like Duke got dominated from start to finish, but I still don't get the sense that this is something to worry about come March.
It's no more worried than we were after losing to who was there left? Pittsburgh. I mean, I'm not way more concerned now for this one. This one was just more like as a fan with the rivalry, and after going to Virginia Tech, who isn't a great team, but going on the road and winning in Blacksburg is something we don't do very often. So you get that, and I thought coming into tonight you'd at least see some more fight, if you want to call it that. And we didn't see that, like you said, Russ. We just didn't look good while doing it. To look ahead a little bit, just to lay the schedule for everybody. We got 3 home games in a row coming up now. We got Notre Dame, Boston College, and Wake Forest all at home. Like, if you want to try to right the ship and get things right and work on things and do what you got to do, that's probably the best case scenario for Duke right now, is having those 3 games in Cameron coming up. So light at the end of the tunnel there, I would hope. But
Mm-hmm.
winning at home apparently isn't a guarantee anymore. So
I I think we'll take care of those. I'm
I
really,
do too, but yeah.
I'm really not worried about those. If we're healthy, you know, I see it. I wanted to go back because everyone seems just to want to talk about Tyrese Proctor. I don't know what y'all want us to say. Like we said pretty much everything about Tyrese Proctor. You know, he was bad. You know, he wasn't good tonight. It's unacceptable for Tyrese Proctor to not be as aggressive as he's been in the past, and you know, not be as clean offensively. And you know, he needs to be better. I don't know what you.
We're all saying it, and you don't think. I mean, Proctor knows this too. Like we ain't breaking any news here. He knows that the staff knows. Like this will be a learning game for him for sure. And yeah, people are just that's all our chat's been is Proctor. It's like
yeah, so much of it is just preseason expectation, right? Because like my mentions throughout the entirety of the game were so much Flip and Proctor, so much like brutally mean stuff about both of them, and like, you know, it was a bad game. And Proctor has not lived up to the media expectation, I'm sure to his own expectation, and getting hurt the way he did certainly didn't help. We needed more from him offensively tonight. It didn't happen. I mean, God, I keep looking at that. I keep looking at the score that UNC scored 93, man. That's the defense. If we're talking about, somebody said like, oh, I'm not concerned about, you know, going forward from today. I'm not concerned either, but the same concerns tonight are concerns that happened in other games, right? Like our inability to guard like 6'8" guys who can shoot threes, right? That's something that we've seen repeatedly now. I think our size in certain matchups, in terms of our backcourt size, has occasionally reared its ugly head. We did not have the Flip 2 fouls early problem today, but we've had that before. You know, and then obviously the 3-point defense that we have played in ACC play has been really bad consistently. It's been bad consistently. And the numbers, by the eye test, it's been bad. And by the numbers, it's been bad. So like there's definitely a world in which if you are a 3 or a 4 seed, let's say we get a 3 seed, let's be optimistic here. If it's a 14 seed that like shoots a high volume of threes and make them at like 45%, it's going to be a popular upset pick, I think, because like our 3-point defense has not been good in ACC play, and it was not good again tonight. So
yeah, I was just gonna say at this point we should let these guys have a vent session in the comments, because people are just like going off like oh man, I lost the comment I was about to pull up. But yeah, I basically everyone just put in your hot takes. Put in your hot takes, and we'll respond to them, because y'all been going off all day.
I'll give you one. And this
one dude said we were hyping the team up in the offseason. What should we not? Like,
it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
I mean, I don't.
Who?
I want y'all to say.
I mean, and the popular answer will be McCain or Roach, but like
What do you mean by that? Flip is not our dude. Is he not our best player?
He's not like our number one, option on offense, I think is what he's talking about. If he's not, then Duke's in trouble. Like he's got to at least be a 1A, 1B with Roach. Like he's got to be at that level, and he's shown that he can be at that level in games. We've seen it. But there have been too many games where we see frustrated Flip, right? Like frustrated Flip, who wants the foul more than he wants to finish through contact. We've seen that, and I get that must be very frustrating. I understand that he thinks he's getting whacked. He is getting whacked, and it's not getting calls, but like, got to finish. I don't know. It's easy for me to say from my lazy boy, you know, it's easy for me to say that, but like, yeah,
you know,
for the listeners who aren't watching, this question is Duke, if Duke doesn't make it past the first weekend, is the seat warm?
This is also from noted UNC fan.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I didn't even
Yeah,
notice
but
that. My
we
bad.
shouldn't even highlight that, man. He been going crazy today.
But I think, and I'm going to
Romance,
answer
man.
because I had an answer. I don't think it's warm. I think I think there's next season with a gentleman by the name of Cooper Flay coming in. If we go 3 years in a row of not making it past the first weekend, that seat is warm as can be, especially with no one in the 2025 class right now. So, anyways,
Next, my dog agrees with you, Ryan.
apparently. What do you think about this one, Zion?
TJ Power should be the second man off the bench. No. I don't know. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm not gonna sit here and critique TJ Power,
wanted
but
hot takes.
I feel like yeah, that's true. I feel like it's gonna be for the rest of the year, like it was. Caleb Foster is the sixth man, and it's either gonna be Ryan Young or Sean Stewart. Should we try out?
It'll be Ryan Young.
It'll be Ryan Young, but sometimes it has been Sean Stewart. 2 games ago, it was Sean Stewart. It's like 7 man.
I'd love for that to happen. I would love for that to happen. Yeah.
If TJ Power not going to be second man.
Yeah, forgetting I don't even want to talk about the Cooper Flag season yet because there's still it implies that this season has no upside, and I think it does still have upside. It's just
absolutely does, yeah.
It's just not going the way that it should have. It's just behind schedule to what it should have been, I think, and I think that the Duke players and staff would agree with that.
Yeah, this is the next one. Hot takes, refs. Hot take. Refs actually made a larger impact than we are accounting for tonight. I'll take this one just because I feel like people thought I was kind of making an excuse for Duke tonight. With the foul calling, I wasn't. I actually tweeted later in the game like, we're not losing because of the refs. The refs did make a large impact on the game, though. We cannot be oblivious to that. We cannot pretend like it didn't happen. It was both ways, though. The refs missed some calls on both ways. But specifically in the first half, when Duke was getting to the rim, I know Duke was definitely contact searching, but to not have one free throw in the first half, like, let's be real. But like I said, that's not the reason we lost the game today. It's not.
Yeah,
I think Russ said it last show that it was going to happen anyway. We all knew it was going to happen. Like, it's what you expect on the road.
It'll happen the other way in Cameron. I think that we will be more of the benefactor of the whistle at home. That happens everywhere. I think that it did suck being they had 9 free throw attempts in the first half. We had 0. Obviously a couple of guys had 2 fouls. I think more than anything else, it was the mental problem early of they drove several times into traffic, into bodies, expecting fouls, didn't get the fouls. And I think that made an impact more than if that makes sense. I think just mentally, when you keep expecting to draw a foul and you don't get it, that doesn't mean they shouldn't have played through it. They should have just played through it. But
I got a question and kind of a statement is Marcus put this up, and then before that we had this, and it made me wonder. We talked about Flip being a part of a lot of the high ball screens. How much of an impact do you guys think that Mark Mitchell's shooting struggles are actually making, or having this team realize? Because the fact that it's Flip always doing these high ball screens, Mark isn't setting a lot of these at the top of the key. When if he was a shooting threat and he did that, it makes a huge difference where Flip gets to play on the post more often than he is right now. Do you think that'd make any difference, or Mark not shoot? I mean, obviously Mark not shooting like he did last year is a huge difference. But what I'm saying as far as schematically goes, Mark could be doing a lot of the ball screens, but he's not a threat outside right now, and it's making a big impact on the rest of the offense.
Yeah, it changes everything. There's no way around it. But, it changes everything. A lot of the best stuff that we have done this year has been, Proctor Mitchell or Roach Mitchell, pick and roll action, where Flip is kind of the one spacing the floor. I think I think some of our best games we've run some of that action. I don't know that we did that at all tonight that I could see. I mean, maybe once. But that could have been interesting, especially given the fact that if Flip is on the outside, I mean, it doesn't matter. we're also like getting into the weeds with it to some extent, but yes, like you've got to have Mark make threes in order to optimize Flip. And if Mark's
absolutely.
not, but then Mark has also been our most consistent player defensively and makes a huge impact on the floor. So you can't not play him because we don't have any. That's where like the personnel question comes in again, right? We don't have a guy that size who can make threes and space the floor for Flip. So then what do? You play more guards? Well, now you can't guard guys of that size, right? It becomes a personnel thing, which also is stupid to say when you have a nonstop sea of 5-star guys, but like it's also a practical reality. Like, you know, guys are of certain size and certain skill and they need to combine together well. And, you know, we've got a little bit of issue in that respect.
I like this one. I like this hot take because I was actually thinking it in my head just now. If we should play, well, for the listeners, it says, hot take, Flip should play off the guards, not play through Flip a lot. I like Flip some, but guards first. Ultimately, in college basketball, you win based off your guard play. I think we've seen that with all teams. I think we see that now with the best team in the country, without a doubt, UConn. Their guard play is what drives them. They're a plethora of guards. I do feel like we can play, like I said, a little bit more through McCain, run some more sets for him, actually let him create a little bit off the ball too. I mean, on the ball. Roach, run more sets for Roach. Roach has gotten to that point where I feel like whatever he shoots, the ball is going in.
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know, when I think we ran him off a pin down early and he got to the mid-range and hit that shot. I was like, yo, we could do that all game, but we're not going to because we have to get Flip the ball too. So I personally feel like we should start playing through our guards more offensively and then let Flip get his own off of that.
I mean, I'd like to agree with that in principle, but you know, like Flip is probably our second best passer. You know, like McCain's creation for other players right now is more, you know, like in theory than in execution. I know to some extent that's because of what he's asked to do, but it's also true. Roach is, I think, good for, you know, like a second guard in terms of moving the ball. Foster, I think, is kind of fine in that respect too. But, you know, when the offense is hummed at its most, it's generally when Flip has the ball in the post and kicks out to guards. Like we have seen so many games where Flip is on the block or at the mid post and he surveys and kicks out to open shooters. It's a big reason why our assist rate for the season is high and our 3-point percentage for the season is high. We just didn't do any of that today.
You know, it's hard to do that till today, Russ, when they're guarding Flip one-on-one in the post. So they're not bringing help, and they're just letting Flip go up against Baycott. Baycott is building a wall against him.
Yeah.
You know, it led to, you know, the fadeaway jumpers or off-balance shots. So not every team is going to help.
Try it when Washington and Withers were in the game. We didn't even attempt it, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was fair for when he was on the bench.
Yeah, that was, but instead we were just like giving it to him at the top of the key. Yeah. I also see Mark in the comments says UConn uses the portal and John does not. Look, I think Duke fans are right to be concerned that like the portal might not yield, you know, riches, but I don't think it's a John problem.
No, I think
the school problem.
I think if this coming year, it doesn't matter how this coming year goes, but how this year ends, I think going forward, you'll see a strategy shift in recruiting to not a full emphasis on the portal, but the fact that we don't have, not that I'd expect a 2025 commit right now, but not even like somebody who you'd say is a surefire lock. Even the Boozer twins, like, are they in 2025 and they're definitely not a lock. So it's like, we're showing a lot of interesting guys. I just think that going forward, that might be the fact that we don't have anybody of committed or of solid intel that they're a Duke lean for 2025 for me. Makes it seem like we'll go for the portal a little bit more, but
I think the portal is for Duke fool's gold, because I think that we think that Duke will just admit guys. And like I'm not convinced that that's the case. I think in the same way that like Michigan has had some issues, like they had Terrence Shannon committed and then he didn't qualify. Caleb Love was going to go there, didn't qualify. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Duke have similar issues because the admins value very, very strongly.
I mean, a lot of freshmen in. I don't know what it got into Duke.
Yeah, but I think it's easier. I think it's easier when it's freshmen and it's like high school credits versus when it's collegiate credits and GPA transferring. I feel like that's more difficult. Ryan Young went to Northwestern, which is a great, and then there was Stanford, and there are places that we've looked for transfers that are of very high academic standing, generally speaking. Not always, but generally speaking. And I know
this man is my biggest hater right here. I didn't even give a take. I literally just said there's a chance we go into the portal in a couple of years.
Bad take, Ryan. Bad take, bro.
It's my number one hater, man. I appreciate you, Sean.
This guy hating on you too. I don't know who this guy is. They cousins.
That's Duke basketball. Yeah.
Shout out to Duke basketball.
Yeah.
No, I do feel like yes, the portal. People kind of falling into like the portal is good when you're getting someone that fits your system. It's like you can't just hope to get, like there was the Deron Holmes talk. People were dying for Deron Holmes. Oh, Deron Holmes coming to Duke. Like those people are just not like. I get it. They're all-time players, like all-time, transfers for us. But like, those are not like consistently going to come to Duke. It's just not going to happen. We have too much talent that comes in from the freshman class we have, the talent we already have here. So like, you can't expect to go get those people. So, and Theo Johns, you can't even expect to get Theo Johns. Theo Johns,
oh man,
sacrificed his career to come play at Duke because he could have started in 40 other programs in the country.
Yes,
he came to Duke to back up Mark Williams and Paolo Banchero, like 2 first-round lottery picks, like that.
Because he wanted a degree from Duke, and he had the academic standing to get into Duke, and so he thought I can contend for a title and pursue off court things of interest to me academically. I completely agree. I think that's why John has said so much that what he wants to do is have player continuity, because then it's guys who come in and then, it's the whole get old, stay old thing. I think that's just a lot easier said than done. But I don't know that the portal is just going to easily open its doors. And every offseason, any guy that goes into the portal, every Duke fan is like, hey, we could use him.
Blue Devil. That Squidward meme. Blue Devil.
Yeah. Yes. Blue Devil. Yes. Yeah, there's a reason why Blue Devil is not a meme that we see very often. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think that that's anything. And I think a lot of the players who might be those huge impact, could be a star right away guys, they're generally not going to do the Theo John route and come here to be the third or fourth option. They're going to go to a school where they're featured, where they are getting the top NIL package. And, it's just going to be tough. So I think they got to build from within.
Oh man. Who wants to take this one?
Marcus says, hot take, Mitchell, Proctor, and McCain should come back next year. I think should versus
will are a big difference.
Those are two different things. But also should in terms of, should they come back because they can improve their standing? Probably. Should they come back in terms of there's no chance that, they could get drafted? I don't think that that's true necessarily. There's also a lot of season left. especially for somebody like Proctor, certainly for somebody like McCain. I think Mark is the one that's going to have the really interesting decision because
no chance, in my opinion.
No chance not in that he comes back, but I mean, I don't.
Does he transfer?
Yeah,
someone did say it.
Whether college versus NBA is the choice that I think he would have, because I think it would be very hard for him without shooting threes to get on an NBA court with consistency, unless you are like one of the best rebounders on the floor at absolute all times, which while Mark is very good at that, he is not at like a Jared Vanderbilt type level, in that respect. So, yeah, I don't know. Did somebody just get tossed in this Kentucky game, by the way? I know
Scott Drew got tossed in the Baylor out.
Oh, Bradshaw might. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But like Proctor, I don't know with Proctor what the situation would be, other than, again, improving the shot. Improving the shot would certainly be something. And then McCain, I think for McCain, the reason to come back would be just the obscene NIL that you can make here, that unless you're a like lottery pick, coming back, collecting NIL, it's just really hard for guards of his size to get like those rookie extension, those second contract type of deals. So, maximizing while here, while also trying to play yourself into lottery position, which you could definitely do with somebody like a Cooper Flag, is a consideration that I'm sure he'll think about. But I also think McCain's been great, and I think that Proctor is a guy that somebody might swing on just due to potential, and maybe even Mark the same. But the Mark lack of jumper is a real problem. I think.
Y'all better get on your knees and pray every night that Jerry McCain is a Blue Devil next year. Every night.
I would love that. I genuinely think he'd be a preseason All-American.
I don't even want to talk about preseason All-American no more.
Yeah, we have a bad record with
unless they're like Cooper Flag. Yeah, that's the only one I want to tell the preseason All-American.
Yeah, he'll be a preseason All-American. That's also true.
I seen something. Oh man, Mister.
Were there others for this year?
Do you guys have hope? Still have hope? Yeah, I think we pretty much said all of this.
Absolutely do. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not. I know. Oh, let me address this as well, because I've been hearing this from the weeds, from other people's content. That we're just a negative podcast or whatever, and Zion is just a negative Nancy. I don't know where I got that from, because like y'all realize when I watch these games, I actually have no reaction. Like, I'm trained now just to not react while watching games. So nothing is coming from emotion. I just say what it is most of the times. But I guess people think I'm negative. But yeah, I think everyone kind of has the same sentiment here that, tonight doesn't, although it's a loss on the record and, would have been a good win for us, I don't think it's the end of the world. Like, I think we'll move on fine from this. I think it'll be a very good learning experience, at least for the guys in a big moment. And, they'll take this and use it to adjust for the next matchup.
Yeah, I think that we have all the pieces there to do well and get on a run. It's just more, I think that a fan should be able to say, hey, here are the problems, without that being perceived as unfair criticism or emotional criticism. I think it's called being a good fan. Like, you'll also never catch us on here saying Proctor sucks, Flip sucks, fire John Shire. Like, we're not reactionary in that respect, but we're also not reactionary in the everything is fine at all times and you should never say a single critical word about the way your team has played or responded to situations. So, Zion is a negative Nancy, but just not as it pertains to Duke basketball.
Yo, you should have sent me before the show. I was actually fuming at this Ryan Lohman asking me for the link, bro. Come on, dog. I was pissed off. That's why I actually started the show like on low. It wasn't because of the game. I was like, y'all asking me. I was I was scrambling trying to get the stuff together for the
committing
show.
the crime of asking for the link for the show.
It wasn't even like I just didn't know if it was sent previously in the day. Like I wasn't even anyway. I knew what I was doing too, but I couldn't ask it in any nicer of a way than I did either.
Nah, you good, bro. You're sorry.
No, but for I just want to bring people back to last season. At literally February 6th of last year, we got beat by Miami 81-59. Following week, we got beat by Virginia, lost 2 in a row last February, and then that's when we went on our run and had a great end of the season. So I don't think anybody from a Duke fan standpoint should be giving up hope. I get it's 2 different teams, but like a lot of season left, a lot of games we played. This Duke team still has the personnel, I think, to make a run. It's just putting the pieces together.
That team did not have the losses that we have.
I'm just saying, let me just be glass half full, Russ, okay? We're trying to be a positive podcast to end this. But yeah, there's still hope. I'm just saying that's what, if you want to hold out hope, like Duke teams have made crazier runs and college basketball teams have made crazier runs and with a lot less talent than what we have. So, yeah, I still have hope for us in the rest of February and March.
You got to get hot, and you got to show some interesting looks. I mean, like I think that's the thing that we look for more than anything else, and that certainly has become a bit of a talking point for me repeatedly. Is just like I want to see if we've got versatility on the roster and versatile players. I want to see some versatile like things from a scheme perspective. I want to see some varied looks, because the more varied the looks are, with the talent that we have, it's going to be so much harder to prepare for. So I think it's fine to be a little concerned, throughout, especially given the resume that we have and the impact that resume will have on seeding.
Yeah. At this point, though, I do, at least for the most part, I'm very confident in this team because I think we have enough guard play to make a run. Although we didn't see Tyrese play well tonight. I think if we just hit the stride at the right point, then this team could become very dangerous. But obviously we can't guarantee that. But I think there's still plenty of time to start clicking.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I mean, like Proctor's shooting has, even though tonight sucked, his shooting has been better in ACC play. He's hitting 42% of his threes in ACC play, even including tonight. Although I don't think he took a 3 tonight. So that probably plays a role in that. Yeah, guards make March, right? And we've got really good guards, and I think we'll have good guards this year, and we'll have good guards next year too.
Yep.
No, where is this? Where are we getting? Yo.
I literally just said he did not play well. Like, people are so emotional, they don't listen, man. It's unreal. Like,
nobody said Tyrese played well, bro. Come on, man.
In my tweet about his defense, I literally said in the same tweet that it was a bad offensive game from him. And people, all the mentions were like, yeah, but talk about his offense. I did, dude. It was in the tweet that you're responding to. Like, I got to remember that for the next UNC game. If it's not like going our way for whatever reason, like I just can't even be looking at the replies, man. The replies are batshit crazy during a Duke UNC loss.
Yeah, too much going on to be looking at replies and during the game. Can't be doing that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Well,
I think we're good, man. I think we're it's still a lot of games to be played, so I'm not tripping though. Shout out to Jared McCain though, because I really did want a big game from him tonight.
Oh yeah.
Just for the fact of how social media has treated him and just how he's been treated all season. That kid, he's special, man. He's really special. So I was proud of the way he played tonight, but nothing to be alarmed about, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, and he'll get better. Roach will be Roach. Foster will hopefully continue to get better.
Look at this clown, man. Look at this clown.
Well, we already talked about it.
We already talked about it. You got your score wrong too, buddies.
He got guffed from it.
Who had 93? Who had 93 to 84? Nobody, buddy. And nobody expected Duke to play this bad defensively as they did and turn the ball over at this rate and not be able to go in transition.
That's the big one.
Whatsoever.
The turnovers I was stunned by.
Yeah. So
because UNC hadn't committed. UNC, I think, coming into this game, Like, they don't force turnovers at all. Like, in ACC play, I think they were, like, last in the ACC. Jacob can correct me on this, but, like, they were last or close to last in the ACC in forcing turnovers. And Duke was obviously one of the best teams in the ACC in terms of not turning the ball over. You know, it was just kind of a, like, the phrase that comes to mind is pants shitting. Like, it was just bad passes in dumb spots. And then Ryan Young having his – you know, traditional, like, a turnover or two in the paint. And, you know, goddamn, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, what's the next game? I don't even know the games after this. When is
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is Wednesday, and then Boston College is the weekend, yeah?
Yeah.
Boston College. Yeah.
I mean, hey.
Do we need
I know,
to go those games?
I doubled up my mortgage for the first time this season.
Yeah, good work. You want it back.
I'd rather lose my mortgage. You know,
man. Hey, man, it's all good. It's all good. I guess
appreciate everybody tuning in, though.
Yeah, will we be back next week for those games though? That's Notre Dame and Boston College. Maybe we do an audio only.
There you go.
We can do that.
Yeah,
or if you think your special guest Zion would want to do a post-win show. Next week, knock on wood, would be a time for that.
Yeah, so for actually, just to tell everybody, we would have had 2 guests on tonight if it was in a perfect world, a past and a future player. But we'll figure out when to do that. Maybe we do it before a big game. I don't think we need to do it for them Boston College games because
no,
what it is. But unless we lose randomly, but we won't need them for that. But I think we'll bring them on at some point. So we'll see. But
yeah,
we appreciate y'all. Subscribe. You know the deal. Subscribe and listening. Oh, home field, yo. Oh, we gotta do that plug real quick. Let's do that plug real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, wait, hold up. I got my new home field shirt on. Check that out. From the new drop. Let's go.
They got gear, man. They got some fire new gear that if you use that code, crazy. Use that code. Hey, UNC fans watching, you could use the code too and get UNC gear,
CRAZIE. 15% off your order.
Yeah, come on now. You could do that. And that's our gift for you for your win. And everybody wins, But subscribe to the podcast for sure. All platforms. Like this video, even the UNC fans hating in here, victory lapping, like this video, We'll be back at the end of the season when we kick your ass on camera. Just clip that. When we kick your ass on camera. But we appreciate y'all for tuning in, and we'll talk.